Who defends the Constitution when somebody challenges its authority? For more than 200 years, our courts and the judges, juries, and lawyers who serve justice every day have protected American freedoms by upholding the Constitution as the highest law in the land. America won't work without fair and impartial courts. State Bar of Georgia. Lawyers dedicated to the Constitution's promise of justice for all.
Leave your legal question for us on our toll-free law line at 888-203-7-LAW.
And we're back with more Talking Law TV. I'm Michael Short, and we're here now with Christie Register. Hi, Christie.
Hi, Michael.
And we're talking about filing Chapter 13 bankruptcy and what are some benefits that may be associated with it.
Yes.
So when you're headed down the bankruptcy highway, how do you know if it's going to be 7, 11, 13?
For most individuals, your options are Chapter 7 or 13. There is Chapter 12, which is for family farmers and fishermen, which excludes most people. It depends on your situation. Are you behind in your house or car payments that you want to keep? If so, Chapter 13 may be your best bet. Do you owe back taxes? If so, 13 may be your best bet. If you don't, if you just got a lot of unsecured debt, then you may want to file Chapter 7. So it's truly a case-by-case basis. I see a lot of people who could file either, and I give them the pros and cons of each, and then they decide with my help.
Basically, the difference between 7 and 13 is what? One of them
13 is known as reorganization, where your secured debts, for the most part, are paid through your plan. You make your payments to the Chapter 13 trustee, and the trustee distributes the payments on a pro rata or a proposed plan to the creditors. Chapter 7 is what we refer to as liquidation. If a lot of people think that if you own a house and you file Chapter 7, you automatically lose it, but that's not the case.
But if you have a lot of equity in the house, you may have to sell it?
Yes. If there is excess equity, or what we call non-exempt equity in your home, which a lot of people don't have that problem these days because home values have fallen so much, then the Chapter 7 trustee may take that. Of course, that is something that we would warn people about from the get-go, and if they want to keep the home, then you don't file Chapter 7, you file Chapter 13.
In the case of, let's say, a small businessman is filing bankruptcy, he's Chapter 13, he's a sole proprietor. Mm-hmm. But if he closes his business, is also going to impact his home because he's a sole proprietor?
If he got loans, and I know for the most part, when I get loans for the registered law firm, they're in Christie Register's name. So if this sole proprietor got loans or credit cards, or heaven forbid, got a second mortgage on his house to finance his business, then yeah, that can affect his house. So even if your business is dead and closed, if those loans were in your name individually, or if those loans were secured by your home, then you still have to deal with them. They're secured.
So this is another reason why maybe a small business person should be incorporated.
That would help, but still, you know, my law office is incorporated, but, you know, a lot of banks don't want to make a loan to a corporation. They want a person. So even though my office is incorporated, I still have to get, if I need a loan for the business, it's got to be in my name, which is usually the case.
And then you already mentioned the house. By protecting your car as well, you're allowed to keep that? In either chapter?
In general, yes. Now, if, you know, I meet a lot of people who come in and say they're looking for my car and behind on the payments, it's about to get repossessed. Chapter 13 is what you want to do because that arrearage gets put into your plan. Chapter 7, there is no plan. So if you're behind, that creditor is not going to agree to reaffirm that debt and let you continue.
All right. We have a slide up here of the bankruptcy court plaque up front. Take me through the process. I've thrown up my hand and said there's just no way I can deal with this. I'm going to have to do this. What do I do first?
Call us or call a bankruptcy attorney to get an appointment in, and the sooner the better. I have people who come, you know, on a Friday evening and they call us. Their house is going to be foreclosed Tuesday morning. That's too late. We've done it before, but it sure is easy when we don't have to rush. You need to get an appointment with us. Come in. We've got a questionnaire that people can download at home. It's extensive because this is serious petition we're filing with the bankruptcy court. We need all your bills. You have to have tax returns. So there's a list that we have. It's very manageable, but there are certain hoops we have to jump through before we can get the petition filed. One biggie is credit counseling. You have to have that credit counseling and have that certificate before you can file your petition with the court.
And that's way before you're discharged.
Yeah, it's before you file the case. You have to have that pre-counseling before you file it. And there are a lot of services now that offer services online. So it's doable. You just don't want to wait until the last minute.
Okay, and the creditors that are calling you at all hours of the day and night, they're going to keep calling you until you file.
Yes. But then once you file, we give them notice they are not supposed to call anymore. And if they do, we can file an adversary with the court, and they can be sanctioned.
But in order to file, you've got to take the course first.
You've got to do yes, we have to have all the bills, we have to have the petition, they have to come in and sign. You know, we've streamlined it as much as possible, but there are things that we need from the clients, and it's on our website. The list is, and it's fantastic when, you know, the first time the client comes to see us, they've been to our website or they've talked to one of our staff members and they have everything they need. It can really be easy if you're prepared.
Okay. Now, if you're really looking at a really bad time, you're about to lose your car, lose your house, and you need to make a snap decision, which chapter is the best choice?
Short answer, Chapter 13. If you can fund it. If you're behind on your car payments, Chapter 13 will protect it, but you've got to be able to make your Chapter 13 payments. So, you know, for those people who have no money, have no job, Chapter 13 won't work because you've got to be able to fund it. You know, the bottom line, if you want to keep your car, you've got to pay for it. If you want to keep your house, you've got to be able to pay for it. So Chapter 13, it's good for people who have kind of gotten in a hole and they can't get caught up, but they can do okay going forward. So they may be 3 months behind on their house, which they can't pay that lump sum, but they can make next month's mortgage payment. That's what Chapter 13 is for.
Okay. Well, what about these ridiculous commercials that say, are you $50,000 in debt and cut your debt in half? What's the deal with that?
I have yet to meet a person that debt consolidation worked for. What I find is you're paying all these fees to the debt consolidation company and you're getting nowhere with your creditors. It can stall them and hold them off, but I have not yet met a person who got any benefit from it.
And a lot of people, when they get in this situation, the credit cards have caused it. Has credit card reform done anything to change that?
I think credit card companies aren't as freely offering credit anymore, which is good. However, they're still gouging people with the interest rates, with the late fees, with the penalties. You know, they can unilaterally drop your credit limit, so you're automatically over the limit, and then they can penalize you that way. So it's still a problem for a lot of people.
Thanks, Christy. We'll be back with more Talking Law TV with viewer mail right after this.